Raise your hand if you learned something today. Everybody glad you came to the Peak 16? When should come back next year is the big question. Yes. Okay. Well, we're so excited to have you guys back here at the auditorium. Hopefully you learned something in some of the sessions. A reminder that if you missed one of the two, one that was in here and the one that on how to serve on a board, we'll be sure to put those up at thepeak.org so you guys can look at those videos. So if you missed it, we recorded it. Don't worry about that. So our panel here, we've assembled lots of great folks that have lots of great information about where we've been as a region, where we're going, and how young professionals can be a part of it going forward. How many of you guys believe that young professionals have a role to play when it comes to moving a region or a state or a city forward? Hopefully all of your hands went up. That would be the reason why you're here. You guys we have a great role to play when it comes to moving the needle and making a difference here. And these folks are going to have some great insight on that, where we've been and where we're going. At this time, let us introduce our panelists today. Starting with John Lummus, the President and CEO of Upstate South Carolina Alliance. The Upstate South Carolina Alliance provides assistance to companies considering the Upstate for a new business or business expansion. John helps develop relationships and support collaboration throughout the region. John is a graduate of Wake Forest University and received his master's degree in public administration from the University of South Carolina. John Lummus. Give it up for John. You guys know I don't let you get off without clapping for folks. We don't act like that around here in South Carolina, okay? Up next, Hank McCullough, Senior Manager of Government Relations for Piedmont Natural Gas. Hank oversees legislative policy and grassroots activities related to Piedmont, South Carolina operation. He's also responsible for local government interaction within Piedmont's upstate service area for coordination of the company's economic development efforts. Hank currently serves as chairman for the top 10 at the top, as well as boards of the Upstate South Carolina Alliance, the Greenville Metropolitan Arts Council, and the South Carolina Technology and Aviation Center. Hank holds a mechanical engineering degree from Clemson University. Go Tigers, get up for Hank McCullough. Up next, Brandy Amidon, owner of Brandy, Hart, Amidon CPA. After graduating from North Greenville University, Brandy started a career in banking before opening her own accounting business, calling herself the Trusted Money Lady. Brandy is currently serving her third term on Travelers Rest City Council, where she was elected Mayor Pro Tem. Important lady here. Is a dedicated member of Let's Keep TR Beautiful, a 2014 Hughes Investment of Elevate Upstate Community Vibrancy Grant recipient for their Before I Die walls, and serves on the board of directors for the Appalachian Council of Governments. Give it up for Brandy Amidon. Up next, from the Sparkle City, Todd Horne, Vice President of Business Development for Clayton Construction Company. Clayton Construction Company specializes in turnkey commercial construction projects in the Southeast. While developing relationships, Todd has had the opportunity to be involved with many organizations, including 10 at the Top, Spartanburg West Rotary, and Hubbub. Currently, Todd serves as the chairman for the Spartanburg Area Chamber of Commerce. Todd is a graduate of USC Upstate. Give it up for Todd Horne. Lots of great folks up here, and a lot of you know them, I'm sure. So we're going to get this started by talking about where this region has been. I'm going to start out very broadly by saying, where do you guys see, where has the Upstate been? Where do you see it going? A very broad topic of conversation, but it'll start as our starting point, and we'll let you guys join the conversation as well. I want to make sure we get as many of your questions in as well. So where we started, where are we going, where are there room for growth, and things like that.
Thank you. I'd say that the Upstate is a much different place from when I was born, and I've seen a lot of change. I'm from Anderson, grew up in Anderson. I was making a talk of it the other day, and the population of Anderson County has grown 79% since 1970. Okay, and that's 1970 was when I was in kindergarten. So it's grown a lot, and you can really see that the entire Upstate has, and we really transformed incredibly. I mean, back 40 years ago, we were still a textile-based industry here. across the upstate. And most of that business has either gone away or revolutionized and innovated to where it doesn't look anything like what it looked like back in those days. And now we have a high-tech workforce, we have high-tech manufacturers. One of the biggest things that really transformed us is when the B&W plant came here in 1993, and you can see just the difference in the communities up and down I-85 since then. So we've really changed a lot. And as you look out the window here at the city of Greenville, I moved to Greenville in 1995, and I'm telling you, there wasn't any of this here. If you look, if you went out the front door of the Peace Center and looked to the right, there was, I mean, of course we're to the left, but if you went that way, there wasn't any of that here. This building wasn't here. There was vacancy on Main Street in a lot of buildings. They were redoing things. It started about 1980, and just look at where we are now. Now we bring guests and visitors to Greenville. It's incredible. When we go to Spartanburg, Spartanburg is a total different place now. The downtown of Spartanburg is incredible. The development there, the brew pubs, and just different things. And I give Todd a lot of credit here. He's brought a lot of life and energy to Spartanburg with Spartanburg Chamber. I went to their meeting, what day things are these days, but last week, and it's just incredible, the energy and the young people that we have here. So a lot of change in the upstate, and it's just getting better.
My turn now. So I've spent the better part of my adult life here in the upstate, and I consider myself a citizen of the upstate. I actually came from Kentucky, came down here to go to school, and decided once I got done with college I would just stay in the upstate. And this has been a place where I've had many different opportunities in my career and seen a lot of the change that's been going on. Back to the old our old textile days, when you really look at how this region was developed, it was really a conglomeration of what you would want to call small towns and villages, and we've sort of outgrown that model, especially in the last 40 years where we've moved sort of through this suburban growth phase. But I think one of the things that is very much important to our heritage is that village feel and the cohesion that you had back in the days when we had those, what we call mill villages. When you think about it, there was a very strong community there. So I think that is sort of the foundation that has created an environment where it's going to present some challenges as we move forward, because really we're a connection to a bunch of farm roads, and our population is growing in this region. And so we're really going to need to think about how we can leverage our past and put that together with all the innovation that we have right now coming to our area, simply because we have people who found this to be an attractive location because of our natural beauty as well. And so that's really going to be a key thing, is keeping that social cohesion as we grow, making sure that we can get between places, and our infrastructure is going to need improvement as well. So I think there is a lot of opportunity here, but I think we all are going to have to work together on those challenges. And I'm glad I've been a part of that. I'm glad you all are here to hopefully I can encourage you to get involved in your communities as well and in the region.
Well, I'm going to talk about Travel Dress because I am a full-fledged TR girl. That is where I grew up. So when I was younger, we had a Hardee's and we got a Burger King. It was big news. So our baseline was really low, and so to see if you guys have come to Travel Dress at any time, so the progress has been huge. And so a lot of that started with we are a small town, and you felt like you knew your neighbors, but it didn't look like a small town. So we did what was called a street diet. We took this main drag through Travel Dress down four lanes down to 2 lanes, and it started to look like a main street. So people felt like they had this community where they could walk. The Swamp Private Trail has been huge to the growth of Travel Dress. I'm sure the majority of you guys have been on it from Greenville or wherever, and so you're starting to see these shoots where people want to be on the trail. They want to live on the trail, they want to work there, they want to have a business there, and so that's a huge growth opportunity for us. And so now you have a reason to come to Travel Dress. Like, it used to be like, oh, there's Sunbrook Adventures. I would tell people I live where Sunbrook Adventures was. And so now you have like a destination where you come, park, and eat. And so I think that's where you're going to see the growth. And a lot of people tell me, I love Travel Dress, but I don't want it to get too big. Which is funny like they want to hold on to that small town feel. They don't want Greenville to have this wonderful Greenville. They want to travel dress. And so I think you're going to see that continued growth where people want to feel connected to one another and live and work all in the same place.
Well, I can say that the four of us are the only thing sitting between you and a beer. So it's a tough place to be in. But let me ask a question real quick. How many people in this room are from Greenville? Or Spartanburg or Anderson? The Upstate, raise your hand. Okay, I'll say that's roughly half. So that's a big change. You know, as these communities have continued to redevelop their downtown, Spartanburg being one, of course Greenville. I'm from Greenville originally. Moved over to Spartanburg back in 2001. I've lived there since. And I've seen a lot of redevelopment happen, especially in the downtown areas. But, you know, one thing that's different now than was, say, 10, 15 years ago, people are moving to an area, a location, a region based on quality of life. That's why people are moving there. They're not moving for a specific job. They're moving for the quality of life in that area. So TR, for instance, the Swamp Rabbit Trail. Spartanburg, we got a great brewery. We got a lot of positive things happening over in the redevelopment in that area. Greenville, you don't even have to talk about. Same with Anderson. So there's just a lot of momentum happening, especially urban redevelopment within the region right now. And I think that's really driven the change in this area, and is why I'm sure a lot of you that aren't originally from here moved here. So that would be my guess.
And I know a lot of you were. I know a lot of you are looking at the screen. We are taking questions on the screen, so if you have a question and you don't want to raise your hand, we're going to be monitoring the screen to make sure that we see. And yes, we will put anything that you put on the screen on the screen. I saw that question, so we can answer that. But we do want to make this a two-way conversation, obviously. So if there's something you want to ask, pull out your cell phone, send out the tweet. Make sure you use the hashtag #ThePeak16, and we'll be sure to ask those questions. I want to ask, I mean, a lot of times, and I know a lot of groups have this problem where young professionals don't feel like there's room for them at the table. Do you guys see that with the organizations that you're a part of? Do you feel like young professionals don't feel like they have something at stake with these types of decisions? What would you say to young professionals in this room to say that, you know, in order for things to be progressive and to have these voices heard, you have to raise your hand and say, hey, this is what's important to me. What do you guys think is the role of the young professional, and how can they impact some change in your organizations?
Well, I just think it's about getting involved no matter what you get involved in. You know, a great way to get involved, get started out is in nonprofit organizations, something that you have an interest in, that you want to get involved in, and learn about how to be on a board, learn what it means to be in an organization. But I would say for organizations like ours, I mean, we want young people, young leaders, because you don't want everybody on your board to be, 75-year-old, white male. That just doesn't get it, and you can't run an organization in the world now and have folks like that be the total demographic. So you need, women, minorities, younger folks on any board that you have, so you get a full range of opinions and ideas of what goes on. But what I would tell the people in this room is there are plenty of opportunities to get involved in your community, from nonprofits to running for city council to get involved in the Chamber of Commerce and being the chairman like Todd is. I mean, you can get involved. All you got to do is do it. And people in organizations are always looking for board members and people that will actually get in and do work. I would say that on most boards, the reason why young people can make strides is I found, y'all heard about the 90-10 rule. 10% of the people do 90% of the work. That's true, particularly when you get on board. I was on a fundraising board. We had 36 members, and really about 4 of them raised money. So that's true. And the young people can be the ones to do that.
I'll say that really the first experience I had getting involved was actually a bit later in my life, where I had the opportunity to be involved with my employer, where I was out in front of the community, really. And so part of my mission was to get involved with a lot of organizations, from Health and Human Services to the arts and a lot of other things. And what I found is that those organizations, they really lacked representation amongst younger folks. And the that's all relative. So when I came up through the ranks, through kid at the top, my own personal interest in creating a regional thought and plan that we needed to have the young folks involved. So actually, this event today is actually the result of a conversation that happened 3 years ago. And we're here today. And thank you to all who have done this. But I think that, first of all, pick something that you have some passion around. If you have a passion around something, you will find an organization that you can get involved in. And I will tell you, you're going to be much more effective. I have left board positions that I've gotten involved in because somebody said, well, you need to be involved in this board. And I later found out that you have a lot of passion around it. Find something that you're passionate about. Regionalism is something that I'm passionate about. That's why I'm a member of the top. Arts is something I'm passionate about, and that's why I'm involved in arts and spreading out about the region. So I'd say the number one thing is find something that you're passionate about, and you will find a place.
I'm just thinking about that. So from the passion standpoint, not everybody wants to be on city council. I mean, your goal might not be to say that you're a politician one day. I mean, that's not like the greatest thing ever, but there's something in particular that you're passionate about, and you need to tell us what that is. If it's somebody that's on city council or board or whatever, we need to know that you're that person. Because there's going to be something that's going to come up somewhere down the line, and we're going to need to know. Who are those people that I need to hear talking about, a business or sales or a particular restaurant that we want to start, whatever it is, like I need to know who they are. So one thing is just to reach out to those people individually so they know you. Just say, hey, let's go have coffee, something simple like that, where the next time something pops up, I'm going to know exactly who to reach out to. The other thing is just to show up. I'm a big proponent of, you don't know what's going on, but you can't expect people to just like, hey, Brandy, you need to come to this meeting Friday night at 5 o'clock. That's not how it works. Like, if you're interested in it, just show up. Like, be there, be that person where they expect to see you. And then that way you can figure out how your place or whatever your passion is going to make the most difference.
So my first involvement in the Spartanburg community was through the leadership program, which is Leadership Spartanburg. I think that every single community that each of us live in has some type of leadership program, whether it's Leadership Anderson, Leadership Greenville, Leadership Greenwood, wherever you live in the 10-county region. There should be some type of leadership program offered there. And what that does is it gives you a good span of what's happening in your community, and you can really dive into really what your interest and your passion are. I wrote down passion right here because it's true. You got to find something that you really care about, and you got to show up. And John's right as well, 90-10. We can't bring a lot of financial support to the table maybe because of our age, but we can certainly bring passion, and we can certainly bring a drive to work. So that is something that young people can bring to the table that maybe, older folks, they've been through. And I guarantee if you look on a lot of different boards in communities, you see the same names over and over and over again. And there is a huge opportunity. You just have to show interest in an organization, a genuine interest, and show the passion and put the work behind it.
Thank you guys so much for that. And I know that, Todd, one of the things we've had in Spartanburg, and I'm sure people in other cities have had this issue as well, people saying, well, Spartanburg doesn't have this, Greenville doesn't have that. But the obvious follow-up question is, well, what are you doing about it? You know what I mean? And that's the thing. So getting people to get off the couch and start serving a community so they can impact change in that community is a big thing as well. Keep your questions coming. I saw a couple of questions in there. I think there was one from Ryan, I do believe, that was asking about Traveler's Rest. Is there a chamber in Traveler's Rest, and is there a way to be involved with other places that may impact change?
Sure, yeah, we actually have a greater chamber of Traveler's Rest. We actually don't have young professionals division of that. So I was actually talking to a friend of mine, Nikki, and we need that. We have actually a lot of people who really want to come and live and work in Traveler's Rest, but they don't have that connection. Like, they still might feel the need to come to a Greenville chamber meeting in order to network and get around. So we have a chamber, but there's not this great dynamic group of young people who are involved in it. So I would love to get together with anybody who's interested in that, because I think there's another great opportunity for us to feel connected in that aspect.
There's another question up here, if I can find it. It keeps moving. We are young, kids me on the way. How do we pass on this legacy of the upstate to the next generation? Adam Babcock had that question. How do we pass this along to the next generation? We don't have to go in order. It's just whoever feels best suited to answer that.
I'd be glad to take that one, and that's a great question. I thought that if you think 20 years down the road, well, I should speak for maybe a couple of us up here. Okay, let's do it to, I guess that's stage left. Stage right, okay, and up, the other way. Anyway, 20 years down the road, who's going to be the sort of the financial backbone of this region? What age group? It's going to be typically the 40s to 55. That's sort of in your prime. That's when you have your families. That's when you have kids in high school. That's when you're thinking about college educations and all that. And that's when you're really going to be the backbone of your community. So we need to start thinking about those times right now. What is this place going to look like in 20 years? We keep on adding people. We add jobs. We want all those. It's pretty much known if you're not growing, you're growing. So we need to think about that. And you people in this room are going to be the ones that are driving that. And hopefully you can be staying in this region because we need the right talent in the region. You just showing up today is showing that I have enough interest that I want to take part. So that's really an important reason to get involved. And I would tell you that you need to start thinking about what you want us to do.
And that kind of leads us into this question. I know Davidson wanted to know, you mentioned lifestyle and connectedness and that type of thing. They want to know, what are they missing that is kind of stopping them from getting the point? Is there something that's missing to keep things more connected in lifestyle and things like that? What is the big thing that you think that young professionals maybe sitting in this room may be missing out of the whole thing? And David, feel free to clarify that question better than I did.
I heard a similar theme was connected. I heard connectedness, and I heard a small town feel as well as a future growth theme there. I don't feel, everyone I talk to, I'm not from Greenville, they say that we haven't identified our identity yet. And what are we missing to be the best at, what everyone knows of as Greenville? Is it the best place to live outdoors? Is it the best place that's a small town but a big city at the same time? What do you think we're missing, and what can we do about it?
So I think, going back to kind of regionalism, and I think that every community and every 10-county region in the upstate brings something different to the table. Obviously, there's a lot of young people moving to Greenville. And then over in Spartanburg, we're known right now as Spartanburg's a great place to raise a family. And so you got two different identities that you're looking at right now, although we're having a large, group of young professionals moving to Spartanburg as well. So I think, moving forward, I feel like young people are willing and able to think more regionally versus, the upstate versus just Greenville, just Spartanburg, just Anderson, just Greenwood, just TR, wherever you are. But thinking as this is a region, I was talking to Hank earlier, there's so many people that say, well, BMW's in Spartanburg. Well, BMW's in Greer. Well, BMW's in Greenville. Who cares? It's in the upstate. It's affecting every single one of us in some way, shape, or form. And so we got to start thinking in that mindset. Yes, it's in Spartanburg County, but hey, it's affecting everybody in every region in some way, shape, or form. So, I feel like there's an age, as we continue to grow in our positions as leaders in the community, I feel like our generation does not think as much. Sometimes you would have thought that Donald Trump built a wall between Greenville and Spartanburg, and then you couldn't come over to one side or the other. It was just, but it's not that way anymore. People were really starting to think more regional, and we got to all work together to move forward. And on this board, we have leaders from all over the 10 counties represented, and for us to have the opportunity to come together on a regular basis and share ideas of what's working in our communities is invaluable. And we got to continue to think like that as we move forward as a region.
Yeah, I think one of the words that Todd said that's just perfect is collaboration. We do need to think of ourselves not as individual cities, but as a region. That's what I do in my job. So I talk about regionalism all day long. But we're working on a process now where we're trying to make our region more globally connected. How many of y'all in the audience have an iPhone? Everyone. Okay. We're connected with everybody all the time. We're connected with the world. You can talk with somebody on whatever, any country in the world right now if you want to. We're trying to make it to where we talk as a region, we collaborate as a region. So we think of ourselves as a region because the Upstate has 1.4 million people, and we are an economy in ourselves, and we've got to think about ourselves like that because as y'all go through your jobs and live the next 40, 50 years working, we have to be more globally connected if we're going to be successful in every one of your jobs. You can't just think about what's right down the street or 2 miles away.
I think another question that I've seen pop up here is Ryan wanted to know about how's the Upstate attracting and retaining millennials? What do you think is being done or can be done to attract and retain millennials?
I'll give it a try. I think I see some pockets where it's starting to work. I think part of it is right here. This facility right here. Trying to get young, bright minds that don't think sort of the old ways to come together and create businesses, work with existing businesses. Also, I think that you need to make sure that you're having a community as well. So younger generation, maybe y'all already know this, and I'm sort of this way too. I want to get out of the car. I want to be able to get to the grocery, everything I need within my community. I want that community to have a connection with the other communities around, but I don't want all of the hassle and the traffic and everything that comes along with it. So I think that one of the things that we can do to continue to attract them is going to be a quality of life issue. I mean, I don't know whether that's putting a Crowder house on every corner, or what it means, but I mean that's sure a great start. I mean we were talking about little pockets, and I know they've cropped up in Spartanburg. I mean we were over in Coney County in the fall. We attended the top bus tour downtown Seneca. Each of our little communities and towns has their own identity, and I think that you can find a place as a young professional to fit into one of those places. It's going to have the right mix for you, but really the key there is that you have a sense of a welcoming community. It's got the resources and the quality of life. It's going to make it attractive for you, and then perhaps down the road if you have a family, and so on. So that's, I would say it's more about community.
This might seem like kind of an odd answer, but so I'm one of the founding members of Let's Keep Your Beautiful, which is the offset of Keep Greenville County Beautiful. But one of the main reasons why people move to a location, it could be a job or a great restaurant or family, is because it's a beautiful place. And so it seems like such a simple answer. I've lived in Traverse all my life, so it's kind of hard for me to think like, oh, I can drive someplace and say, oh, that's pretty, I want to live there. But it really happens all the time. I talk to people who drive through Traverse, they live up north or wherever, and decide they're going to move here, which blows my mind that they make such a drastic move just because it's a pretty place. And so for us, there's a big focus on making sure it's pretty, it's beautiful, first quality. That's something that we talk about on City Council. We don't want to do anything that's not first rate and the best that we can get for what we get. So that's a big push for us, to just make sure that everything we do is a good quality and keeps our town beautiful.
It's pretty funny watching. You guys are funny. There's some funny people out there. You're watching this feed go behind you guys. You guys are missing out by seeing some of these. Where's Mike? Where's Mike Pennington at? I know Mike always. Mike got coming there. This is Mike Pennington, everybody. Fun and delicious. Hey, Mike, I know you always have great questions. What is a question that you would want asked that has nothing to do with fun and delicious? Thanks.
Well, that was my last one. I just posted up there, which is Tally. I think Todd brings a really good point of connecting Greenville and Spartanburg, and we talk about connecting in communities when you've got 6 different communities just in the county of Greenville with Greer, Fountain Inn, Simpsonville, Malden, Greenville, and Travelers Rest. And how do we make these bikeable, walkable communities? And the last one I put up there is like, think outside the car. And don't necessarily think about parking your Tahoe downtown or parking garages. And when those elections come up, we need to be voting for sidewalk infrastructure and bike lanes and really alternative transportation, because that's going to be the future of how we're going to get around. So, and it's not going to be everyone driving their Tahoe all around just because gas is cheap. So that's not necessarily a question, but maybe a spotlight.
Mike Pennington, thank you very much. So visit him to support small business, funnel delicious.
You know, that's interesting you bring that up, because one of my little brain things going on up here is that at some point people say, oh, you know, you can't afford light rail or mass transit, or you don't have the population density in the upstate to make it happen. And no, these people around here, they're too married to their cars. They're never going to go for it. Well, you think about the cities that have grown to our size that are now looking at it. I mean, they're bigger than us. Charlotte, Atlanta. And if we don't start thinking about that type of thing now, we're going to be in a situation where it's going to become very difficult and even more expensive. I mean, you're talking probably $1 billion investment just to put a line between, say, for instance, Greenville and Spartanburg. You know, maybe not that much, but it's pretty high. But you have to start thinking about it now, because you also very much have to combat the attitude, and I don't want this in my backyard. So if you're going to have a light rail, where are you going to put it? So maybe the logical place is you take a light rail and you put it right down the middle of Wade-Hampton Boulevard. You know, Wade-Hampton Boulevard goes all the way to Spartanburg. You put it above, right in the middle. You still have the road, you have bike paths on the side, you have sidewalks, you create communities where stations are. I mean, this is forward thinking. That's the way you got to think. People think I'm crazy, but somebody's got to be thinking that. That's what I say when I say get involved, and get involved with your, start talking and participating with your local elected officials, because the more you can talk with them, the more that they will buy into it. Just frankly, I work with them. They need cover. It's not that they're against the big idea. They just need cover, because for every person like you that says we need to try something different, there's somebody over there saying, oh, we like the way it's been for many years. Well, that's just not going to work. So get involved.
And another question that just popped up, I thought was a very interesting one, I think from Jeremy Holt, that said, when the lack of an experience is an issue or a concern, how do you prove your worth as a young professional? What advice would you give to people? Because I've been to a lot of these young professional things, and the first question is like, what do you do? How do you do it? You know, and then if your career is not something that makes you, like, if you have a certain level of experience, you don't make it to the next round of that conversation. You know, so what would you say to someone who maybe experience is something they're concerned about? How do they prove their worth as a young professional that has valid thoughts?
Well, you might over that. You remember we had better
just, get involved in as many groups as you can. Go to, young professional meetings, go to business after hours at the chamber, go to everything and network with people. There's no way that you can get involved with people unless you talk with them and make a relationship with them. Volunteer for things. It's not that you got to get a job doing something. You can volunteer and let people get to know you. If you were on the YMCA board with somebody and did a really great job on the fundraising campaign, and that person works is the senior vice president for the bank, and they said, oh, that's a young banker guy, he sure did do a good job when we were doing that fundraising. Bam, that's how you get in. Get involved with people, talk with people, and volunteer.
I think they say fake it till you make it, so they say. We're all thinking it, we're just saying it. But anyways, I think it goes back to having an attitude of service. I think it's all about attitude. If you give something all you can, and you give everything you got into it, and show a passion for what you're giving service into, it doesn't matter, how much you have. It's more about the attitude, and I think that most nonprofit leaders, whether you're in this room or across the upstate, would agree that if you have the passion and the attitude and the willingness to be a workhorse within the organization as a volunteer, then that will not go unnoticed, and you will start moving up through the ranks as far as board positions and other opportunities to serve.
Great advice. That's, I know this is not about me, but if I had to give any advice to anyone about that, is that you dress for the job that you want to have, not the job that you have. When I was an intern, I was the only one at my station that came in that wasn't a reporter or on air that wore a suit every day. People are like, what in the world is wrong with you? And I said, I'm dressing for the job I want. And so, and I think that's important, to show up, to be seen, and to be held to an important status, whether other people do or not. So that's the advice I would give on that note. Anyone else out here have any questions? Right here in the front.
I tweeted it, but I'm going to say it too. I think it's great to talk about collaborating in communities and different young professional organizations, but I'm thinking younger, even high school students. How do you see schools collaborating across the Upstate, and how important do you think that will be for our future? And districts. That's the word, but
Opportunities within high schools with businesses, internships, that's the most important thing you can do. The businesses have to get involved with the schools and the school districts. One of the couple of good models that I've seen before is where larger businesses particularly actually adopt schools or a school, and they have internship programs going constantly. It's also about the kids in the high schools really getting involved, starting to think about what they want to do with their career while they're still in high school. We push for manufacturing careers, obviously, because we recruit manufacturing, but it's about getting into schools, have a business, get in the schools, and start talking to kids. When I was in high school and middle school, no businesses ever came to our school. That just didn't happen. Now you have it constantly with different programs, and that's what you have to do.
I think it just needs to be re-engineered a bit. I think that we continue to, we're making progress on the continuum from primary up through secondary and post-secondary education. But I think that one of the things that you're seeing, but we need more work on, is creating really a more uniform path between, for instance, high school career type readiness, and then on to a more, what you would consider sort of a college, I would say the 4-year experience. So if you look at more of a, for instance, more of a European type model, which I think is what we're looking at today as far as manufacturing goes, you're looking at gaining those technical skills, and then as you going into an apprenticeship, and after that, you would go on for additional training. So I think that's perhaps one thing that we could look at.
They're not laughing at you. They're really funny. If you fake it until you make it, when you make it, will you be fake? What's the thing that was scrolling behind you? Any other answers to that question? Jen, I know you also had some questions about education and the role. Want to care to share that? I'll pass this to you.
Yes, my name is Jed Derry. I am the Director of Professional Development for the Piedmont State Teachers Association, a 13-year veteran of the classroom. It's my first year out of the classroom, so I love the opportunity to talk about education. I just want to know what you guys as business leaders in the community, beyond just partnerships with the school, how are you guys investing in empowering your teachers and educators in your community so that they feel a part of this conversation? Because we are raising up that next generation of leaders that you guys need, and we need feedback from you just like you need feedback from us. Oftentimes when the panel is asked a question like that about education, there's a few crickets in the room because there's a disconnect. Because you guys are obviously probably not educators, whereas I am, and oftentimes educators can't be at a place like this because they're busy having parent-teacher conference right now, or at a faculty meeting want to shoot themselves, not getting beer afterwards because it's against the rules and we'll get fired if we drink. Yes, I went to the social media seminars. I'm aware of it. But that's my question to you guys: is what are you guys doing to help empower teachers in your community so that we can raise those leaders? Thank you.
I don't know if this is a proper answer to your question, but I have reached out to, so at Jamarcus High School, how I knew I was going to become an accountant, I wanted to be an accountant was, I had this really mean, boring accounting teacher at Jamarcus High School who I love, like we're best friends. So that was like my way to say, well, they don't even have an accounting teacher at Jamarcus High School anymore, which breaks my heart because I think how do other people know what they want to do if they're missing out on an opportunity? So I've actually reached out to a couple of the business teachers, just said like, hey, I'm a CPA in Jamarcus, what do you need? Do we need to teach a class? Do we have a full seminar? If you guys have like some type of competition, I know people will find somebody. And I think there's never a response back, like a follow-up. So I don't know, this is just my personal opinion, I don't know if there's so much that's required of teachers nowadays that they can't even take a little extra time to have somebody from the outside who's saying, I will help fund this. So it's not a money thing. So like, I don't know what the answer is, but I think we in this room have the capabilities and the want. We just need to figure out how to get through all the requirements that teachers need in order to have that time to say, yes, I will take you up on that offer, Brady, or yeah, I want to have you come and speak and do something different. So I'm not, on the education board school or anything like that, but I think there's a disconnect on all the things that educators are required to do and why we're missing out on opportunity. I don't know, I don't want to say something about everything, but I still think there's something that has to be a connection between the two of us that I'm there. I just need to know like how to facilitate that back and forth. So.
One of the things that Todd has been doing is bringing educators together regionally, and we continue to do that. And if I see Dean in here, I don't know if Dean's in here. We have an event with our work groups coming up fairly soon, where we actually get superintendents together from all the counties, at least once a year together to talk about what we can do regionally. I think there's been some positive progress about come out of that. I can't speak specifically to it, but that's one of the things that if anybody in this room wants to jump in, they're welcome to. All of 10 of the TOPS task forces and work groups are open to anybody who wants to participate, and we would encourage you to get involved and just stay posted, and you'll find out about these events.
Just a quick remark. We're kicking off a 5-year vision, community and economic development strategy for Spartanburg County.
I'm from Florida.
Good. Well, we have communicated and met with all 7 school districts in Spartanburg County, and every one of them helped fund the plan. And we are communicating to them on a regular basis, and it's very important that all 7 school districts and every part of Spartanburg County is represented at the table. So education is very important. We're making sure that we take note of that.
Okay, so I think we've been discussing a lot, and it's time to get to the point where you guys get to enjoy the reception. But before you go, give a nice round of applause for our panel. And if you have any questions that weren't answered in this panel discussion, these folks will be around, probably at the reception. You can have that conversation in a more free-flowing scenario, shall we say. Before we go, let's give, we want to give a shout out to all the people that were involved in the workshops here. We want to give a shout out to Christy from the Fulton Foundation, Rachel Tesla, and Cody Editor from Ingenious. We also want to give a big shout out to, of course, our panelists, John, Hank, Todd, and Brandy. And also the planning committee that put this thing on, Todd Horne, Eric Lundblade, Ryan Downing, Michael Mance, Dylan Petrick, Holly Pruitt, Charles Brefchage, and let's see, also volunteers, Pam Davis, Patty Willis, Lois Downing, Sarah Arbogast, and Christian Ruth. Also special thanks to the sponsors, Piedmont Natural Gas, Greenville Technical College, Ingenious, the Fulton Foundation, Greenville Chamber of Commerce, Steve W. Sumner, Attorney at Law, Anderson Area Chamber of Commerce, Seaman Whiteside and Associates, Baptist Easley Hospital, WGTK FM, and MH Photography. Thank you guys all so much for being here at the Peak 16. Keep the tweets coming. We'll see you guys next year. Go enjoy the reception, and we'll see you soon. Thank you guys.